Thank you so much for coming to our offices. We're really excited to have you here to talk about our important work this summer. Although I will say most days you won't find us in this office. You will find us in schools, working with students, working with educators across the state and across the region. So we're also grateful for the advance notice to get this place a little bit camera ready. So if any of you that work in schools know how hectic the end of school year, start of summer time can be. We encourage you, as you're here today, to walk through our training room. We actually have a setup for you if you'd like to see how we teach our students, what materials we use. We've got an incredible team of program managers here and program directors that can talk to you about our programming and dive deep into that. We know how important and urgent literacy is here in the state, and we are so incredibly grateful to have city leadership that is committed to taking action. I'm truly honored. We've got a great program today, and I'm truly honored to kick off by welcoming our Mayor, John Carney, who has been such a supporter of Delaware's children and literacy here across the state.
Thank you very much, Caroline, and thank you for allowing us to use your air-conditioned room here. This air conditioning, it is about twice as good as the one in my home, and if I don't get it fixed soon, I'm going to be kicked out of the... Rightly so, I might add. I'd also like to thank Melody Phillips, Director of Parks and Recreation, for coming. You can give it up. We have 3 members of council and their education aide, which is really impressive. Councilman James Padola, Kobe Owens, and Tish Bracy, who you'll hear from, I think, in a minute. Chris Purnell from the PAL, one of the more important community service agencies, working in tandem with all of us. I mention all of them because obviously they're present, but they're also partners. And one of the things that's going to be very important and crucial about this initiative is the partnership involved between the city, our agencies, the PAL and Hicks Anderson Community Center, and Reading Assist. I'm going to zoom way out for a minute and then come back to the really important work that we hope to see done this summer. Many years ago, when I was in high school, my father used to work in the old Wilmington Public School District. And at that time, the City of Wilmington was completely responsible, including City Council and the mayor, for running the schools. And there was obviously a Board of Education located in the city. After the federal court desegregated the schools in northern Newcastle County, the City of Wilmington and its elected officials lost a lot of ownership of that system. And since then, we've been trying to, gain some of it back and advocate on behalf of our children. It was one of the most important issues that I worked on as a governor, being that I was a resident of the city and I knew a lot of the history there. One of the things that I've learned as a public servant for 30 years is the most important thing that we do as elected officials is strengthen our economy and provide. Why? Because it provides jobs for the people that we work for and the people we represent. And there's nothing better than a good job to address all the issues you might have in your family, in your neighborhood, and in your community. And for us in the city, that is completely true. Well, we all know that the best way to get to realize your full potential and get the best job possible is to be well educated. And that starts before, Sam, that children enter kindergarten or preschool in the case of many of our children today. We have mandatory kindergarten. It wasn't always that way. In fact, when I was working as an appointed person in state government, we first recommended that many, many years ago. We have really extensive early childhood programs, and we've invested heavily in those programs over the last, say, 10 years as we've started to, the government has started to subsidize early education for particularly needy children. What we also know is if you're going to be successful in your educational trajectory, you need that strong foundation. And that strong foundation is based in literacy. And that's why the state has a milestone, being third grade, where we want all third graders to be able to read proficiently against a certain assessment. And the sad fact of the matter is that most of the children, overwhelmingly most of the children who live in the city of Wilmington do not currently meet that standard. That doesn't mean they can't read, they can't do aspects of it. They can't do the full thing, which is the phonics part, the recognition of words, as well as the association of meaning to what is read. And so it becomes, since we have a limited, we the city have a limited role in all of that officially, there is something that we can do, and that's what we're talking about today, which is the team with Reading Assist to focus on literacy. We have the children at Hicks Anderson, we have the children at the PAL, we have the children in other community services across our city, and it's important. We intend to, and this is the first step, use those facilities, use that opportunity with the children to have a literacy component as part of that participation. When I coached for the Storming Classics for a number of years, we went 1 year and we only won one game, and it was the last game of the year. But one of the things that Storm did that year was he implemented an educational component to the program, so that if you were going to play in the game that evening, you had to go for a tutoring session, hopefully that met the needs you have as a student before you can. So we need to use our assets to bring children in for things that they might like to do, swim in the pool, arts, basketball, whatever the case may be, and slip in there some really important tutoring on literacy. Got to get them in there. You got to have a program that works. And we know the reason that this partnership is so important is because of all the programs we know Reading Assist works. I was at a thing when I was governor. It was actually a National Governors Association meeting, and we had a speaker. And one of the things that the speaker said really sunk home with me. And what he said was, the only thing that has been determined by research to work with respect to literacy and helping children learn how to read is what he called high-dose tutoring. What does that mean? That means one-on-one tutoring with the student and with the person who's doing the tutoring. And that's what Reading Assist has done. I expect that Caroline might talk a little bit about their experiment in making that 2-to-1. And you think about it, if you can go from 1-to-1 to 2-to-1 and just effectively, guess what you've just done? You've doubled your capacity like that, and that's a project they're working on. I couldn't be more excited to take this first step, along with our colleagues here on City Council, along with parents across the city, to make sure that our children, all of our children, by the way, the numbers are something like, at the best elementary school in our city, at Harlan on the north side, children read proficiently about 20%. That means 80% are not reading proficiently. That's just unacceptable for us with the responsibility we have as elected officials, obviously, and families and for our communities. We will be a better, stronger city and state if all our children are able to meet that standard by 3rd grade. So again, I want to thank Reading Assist. We're excited about this partnership, our partnership with Hicks and our partnership with the PAL on North Market Street. And we look forward to working together and really seeing the results. It'll be a positive thing if the children, when they're tested as they come in, don't lose anything during the summer, right? And if we can pick up more ground so that they're really moving along as they get back into school in the fall, all the better. We will continue this program, and we're working on ways of doing that this fall, because if you're behind in whatever subject matter, you got to catch up. And you got to learn the new stuff all at once. Well, that's a difficult challenge. And the more you're not making the grade, the more you fall behind, the more you get frustrated, the more you look for other ways other than doing your work to get by. And so we need to do better, and this is a really first step. And I guess at this point I should turn it over to Carolyn, and she'll zero in more to tell you all what we're going to be doing this summer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mayor. You're exactly right. This work is incredibly important, and it is foundational for our society and our children to be successful, it starts with literacy. Reading Assist has a long history here in Delaware, 35 years. We've been working to build capacity in schools, train educators, and most recently providing high quality, high dosage tutoring to thousands of students across the state and across the region. And high quality, high dosage tutoring means small group sizes, right? So we're working with kids 2-on-1, 1-on-1. We work with kids a minimum of 90 minutes per week. We see them throughout the school year. And not all tutoring is created equal. High quality, high impact tutoring means that our tutors are trained, they're compensated, they're coached, and they're managed, and they're supported. And we collect data, and we measure our students' performance. We look at data at the beginning, at the end, and throughout our programs to make sure that we are helping our students and getting our students to reading progress and reading proficiency. Striving readers succeed when they have supports all around them. That means during the school day, incredibly important work, after school and in summer. And it literally takes a community to create and make a literate society. That means educators trained in structured literacy, in the science of reading, and in best practices, from schools that are identifying students that need extra support, and from community-based organizations and programs who can fill in when kids need a little bit of extra help. Summer is incredibly important. We're not going to close full gaps in the summer. The mayor's right. Our goal here is not to get students from 0% proficiency to benchmarks in foundational reading skills. That's not going to happen in a 4-week program, but it's incredibly important for keeping kids on track, for helping them get just that little bit better so they can start the next year as ready as they can be, to make sure that we're not sliding backwards, and making sure that we're keeping students moving forward, retaining what they've learned and what they know, and maybe getting a little bit better. As we've seen, we've been running summer programming for 5 of the past 5 years of our 35-year history. And what we found in our summer programming is that 87% of our students make gains in the summer. When we look at their initial testing and their end-to-end testing, 87% of them are actually making gains over those 4 weeks of programming. But that doesn't mean summer can't be fun. So we're really excited about this work in community centers so that we can bring reading engagement to kids by continuing to do what we know works, what we know is effective, and infusing it with a little bit of joy.
A lot bit of joy.
A lot of joy. That means this year, bringing near peers, bringing high school students and younger students, training them in to support that tutoring and working with their peers, and maintaining that rigorous data collection so that we know that the impact that we're making is strong. It also means fun and engaging resources like what we have from Mrs. Wordsmith. We've gotten, Mrs. Wordsmith has generously donated materials, games for kids, online tools for kids to supplement what they're learning from their tutoring. And this is materials that are internationally recognized, created by educators, animators, and advocates that is grounded in phonics and the science of reading. Right? And it also means bringing in community role models throughout the summer to read with kids and inspire them to continue striving. And most importantly, we're meeting kids where they are. Our Reading Passport makes reading accessible for students, wherever they are in their literacy journey. Throughout the summer, students are going to be able to earn stickers as they complete achievable reading goals, such as getting a library card or doing literacy scavenger hunts on their field trips throughout the summer. So this summer, we're super excited to be able to partner with community centers and to make sure students end the summer feeling encouraged, supported, and one step closer to being proficient readers. I'm very, very grateful that we have Councilmember Bracy here to be able to speak a little bit about this work, and we'll also be able to hear from PAL and Hicks, our partners in this work this summer. So I will now pass over to Councilwoman.
Thank you. First, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my colleagues, Councilmen Spadola and Owens, who in their own right are fierce advocates for our city's youth and for literacy, so glad to see you guys here. One of the things that my colleagues will tell you that when we started this session in January, we had a reinvigorated commitment to education and to our city's youth, to the point where we established the Office of Education Advocacy, specifically so that the city can play a larger role in what's happening in Dover, as far as with the Department of Education and with our public schools that serve our city youth. But it didn't stop there. We really wanted to make sure that we were partnering with the new administration on looking at how we can use our city resources better to serve our kids. So I want to say thank you to the mayor and to his entire team for really being ahead of the curve and looking at ways that we can partner with existing key stakeholders in our community and really bring some much needed services to our city kids. And they could have waited. They could have done a planning year and said, we'll start next summer. But they really hit the ground running to make sure that this summer our kids were served. So thank you again. We are very excited to be here and to hear all of the great things that are going to happen over the summer with our kids. So thank you again.
Next, I'm going to welcome up Chris. Come on up here from PAL. Thank you so much for coming up here and for trusting us with your babies this summer.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for having us from the PAL of Wilmington. I'm Christopher Purnell, Executive Director of the Police Athletic League of Wilmington. First and foremost, I want to say we are overly excited about this program. So we want to say thank you to Mayor Carney, thank you to Rita Sis, thank you, Councilmember Bracy, and everybody that was part of this opportunity for our partnership. It seems like everybody had this thought in January, as Councilwoman Bracy said. PAL has started its education department in January. We actually hired someone in December to start our education program. And it seems like it's coming together. We're starting that education program. A little bit about PAL. We have a early education department, which is child care, which goes from 6 weeks all the way up to 5-year-olds. And then we have our out of school time, which is before and after care, which goes from kindergarten through 8th grade. And then we have our prevention programs, which is for 8 to 18. And as you guys all know, that education and literacy play a big part in all those portions of our programs. So we are adding education to that so everyone can get the help and assistance that they need so that they can be productive in what their education process is. We want to be that bridge from home to school and school to home and make sure everybody is getting what they need and getting the support. Community centers are very important to the community. We service almost 300 kids a day. And in that 300 students, we need to make sure that they're getting their proper education. I want to give a special thanks to our other council individuals that are in the room, especially Mr. Spadola. In our pre-K program, we use a program called Read Aloud, which he's part of, and we start our kids in pre-K 3 and 4 with one-on-one individual reading, which we're going to do with Reading Assist for our kindergarten and above. So this is something that's been very important to us at the PAL of Wilmington as well as everyone else. And then the last special thanks to my board of directors, which are board president, Mr. Colby Owens, and a couple other board members that are in the room today that came and support us, which they always constantly support every month, all the time. This is going to be a very important program for us with Read Assist. Again, with Miss Caroline, Miss Phillips, and our own tutor back there, Miss Simone, who came as well. She's been there for a couple days, and she's already, became part of the family, and that's how we do over at the PAL. Once you're in, we don't let you out. So again, and again, thank you to Mayor Carney because again, he's been a special supporter not only of PAL but myself in my career when he was in his other title as well. So again, we want to make sure that we are, giving back to our little ones and helping them in every situation that we can, to make sure that not only do they have their reading, but they have the capability of being a productive student in whatever they want to become. One last thing that we talked about was not only having it for the summertime, because we need at least 12 months. You need at least 12 months for a individual to grasp. Yeah, I got you, Mayor. I know it. So again, I know we're starting here in the summertime, but again, we want to make it whatever possible that we can, that we continue through the fall and the spring and continue this partnership through the lifetime of us here being in the city of Wilmington. And then last but not least, I want to give a special thanks to Dr. Melody Phillips over there for being a continued community partner. We are 2 separate community centers, but it's enough kids for everybody in your zip code to be able to be community partners and help each other out. So Melody has been an advocate for us since not only in this position she's been in, but other positions as well. and we appreciate that. So anybody in the room that we're not partners with yet, let's get partners with. And I even see Aja over here as well, that we, we partnered with them for an activity last year as well. So in continuing on with that, we continue to want to build our youth to be better and productive citizens in the city of Wilmington. So again, thank you everybody for allowing PAL to be a good community partner.
Thank you, Chris. That's beautiful. It really does feel like the foundation of a strong community here in this room. Thank you so much. And now, Dr. Phillips, please come up here. We'd love to hear you talk a little bit about Parks and Recs here.
Awesome, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Melody Phillips. I give the doctor a little extra enunciation because I just got it in October. I serve as the acting director for the City of Wilmington Parks and Recreation Department, which has the only city-owned community center throughout the City of Wilmington, which is William Hicks Anderson Community Center. We are super excited about the partnership. Reading Assist actually came in last year and did a pilot program during our Expand Your Mind After School program, and it went over really well. So we decided to have conversations about reestablishing that partnership. And then Daniel Walker, Deputy Chief of Staff, was having conversations, and we were like, oh, we're on the same page. Let's collaborate and keep this thing moving. So one of the unique things to what Chris was saying in regard to the young people who are going to receive the tutoring, we have with the Parks and Recreation Department, the Youth Career Development Program. So they will actually be able to partner, and those career development youth will be participating in helping to read to some of the younger youth who are actively participating in Hicks Summer Camp. So while the focus, of course, is making sure that the reading component is there, the comprehension, I think it's really unique that our youth who are in the age range of 14 to 20 will have the opportunity to serve as a near-peer mentor, and they can provide that reading service. So that's the unique component for William Hicks Anderson Community Center, because we have 5 youth who are placed and working this summer at Hicks, and they'll serve in the gap to make sure that we're not having any reading loss over the summertime. So we're just super excited. I think Chris said it all in reference to anything that I could think about in terms of partnership. But Reading Assist was great when they did that pilot project, and we're super excited to have them return. Thank you.
Yeah, I just, first of all, I want to thank our partners here for your willingness to help. Not just your willingness, you're out there doing it already. And to say this is just a start. This is just the beginning. It was mentioned that we could have waited till the next cycle, but we wanted to get off. This was the most obvious thing. The agencies were ready. We need to expand it to other agencies. We need to figure out what are we going to do during the year. We have these children after school. You heard Chris talking about his after-school program. That center wouldn't be open without their preschool and after-school program because of the support that they get for those families. So there's a lot of work to do. Some folks mentioned the school district configuration. It's something also that I'm working on as a member of the Reading Consortium, which is really important, and we're getting down to the stage where we're looking at what is that new district where Wilmington have a greater say in what goes on, and I'm excited about this. But this is just a start. We've got a great partner. We got a partner that understands how to teach reading, understands the science of reading. We got great partners that are getting children into the buildings already, and we got great partners with respect to the members of City Council and their new education assistants. So thank you all for this. Let's keep it going, and let's do more, make sure our kids get what they need this summer.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for trusting us with this work and with these students. And I have to give a huge thank you, if you guys wouldn't mind just looking behind you, because that team standing back there are the ones that have been doing all this work this summer. Jen, Phyllis, Deb, Amy, Lee, we've talked about the urgency here, that really the city and its leadership, the mayor, the council, the centers have just jumped into action, and so has this team. When we said, hey, we might be doing this thing in a couple of weeks, they said, let's go, let's get it done. So I can't wait to welcome you all back at the end of the summer and share our results. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you.